So in this story, the bad guys got away. Because they did. Mongol was in charge, and since he was being beaten, he got all the bad guys away. The DC bad guys. So he got, that's him, that's Typhoid Mary. Actually, Typhoid Mary doesn't get away. But Cheetah and Artemis get away through a Mongol's transporter. I don't really think it's a boom tube. And that's Captain Britain's over there, and that's Rachel, and this is Nightcrawler. And they got away. And Megan's just, she was in the fight too. She goes through a lot because she usually changes into something. And that's Kitty, and that's Nightcrawler, and that's Captain Britain, who's the leader. And that's Rachel in her Phoenix costume that she was wearing in the 90s. He says, I'm going to get Typhoid Mary to the U.S. Embassy because they got her. And so Nightcrawler says, Captain, let's contact the X-Men. We have to find out if they need help in New York City. They're probably going to go there. That's Nightcrawler. This is Kitty. She says, right on, Nightcrawler. Let's hope we're not too late. So we're going to ink around her a little bit. And we're going to, you can never ink Nightcrawler too much because there's a lot of him on here. And that's, we're going to finish, we're going to do his hand. They're in, I'm going to show you closer. They're behind, in front of a brick wall, which are not that tough to draw. See, when I do a brick wall, this is what you do. Bricks don't usually go straight lines. You go this line, and you go this line. You skip a line. And then in the next line, you go a little bit. Because when they stack bricks, they don't stack them one up. They stack them kind of like a puzzle, so that the mortar can fall between them. So to make a convincing brick wall, you make them like that. And you usually want to make the side of a wall not look so straight because they never really are straight, especially when you're old. See on some of the sides. Device back. Take device back, okay? Alright, we're just going to stay here till the phone stops complaining about the orientation. But here we go. I did rotate device back. Okay, I'm just going to show you Excalibur. There we go. And that's the end of the Excalibur thing. So that was what we were inking. So we're mostly inking, going to ink some more. This one is nothing. But there's still pages. This one is something. This is a big page. This is a great part of the story. Probably going to pencil this one some more. In the climax of the story, one of the story, Superman's been taken over by Venom. And so what happens is he's all escapees, and what they do is they figure out, well, because Eddie Brock tells him, take him to a cathedral. So they do. They take him to one of the cathedrals in Washington. He's like, what am I doing there? I'm Venom, Super Venom. Like, sure you are. Stay there. And so Adam, which is Al Pratt Adam, the original one, gets a big banger thinger, bell ringer. And Hawkman is distracting him. And so he says, hey, you, nobody gets away from old Adam. And so for my 1-2, and he's really just distracting Adam because the other Justice Society members are going to help. And they help. And it's got Johnny Quick and the Flash. And they zoom in. And the next page, this is what they do. They say, now go, because they got Super Venom to chase him. And so he says, okay, swing, batter, swing. And so he goes bong and bongs the bell. And of course, Wildcat, who's got cat ears, says, oh, my poor ears. And then what happens is the symbiote starts crawling off Superman because of the thing, because it's got a weakness to sound, and so it's gonna squeak away. And it doesn't squeak away before it gets on any rock, and they catch him back, and it's all better. This is kind of a sketch of a pain. I'm showing stuff that's a little bit more far along. This one, these are the pencils, and this is okay. So in the Nice X-Force issue, the team was fighting off the Mandarin who had taken over a building in Japan, and they did win, but Cable got his arm chopped off. So that since Cable's got all this stuff, they put Cable in his ship and they put him in his gurney, which is all his future, and all they have to do is just put him there and he's gonna get better. There's Sunspot, Boom Boom, and another, I think that's Sam and Boom Boom. And this is Cable. He's like, hey, am I here? And that's Domino. I'd almost never draw. I'm gonna give her more of a look like she's supposed to look like. And she's in the medical lab. And she says, okay, we got you away, Cable. He says, good job. And that's the end. Pew! They get away. Pretty much true. I think they don't come back at the end, but they had a crossover. And that's what happens in comics. Sometimes you just have guys in one issue. This is the Abominable Snowman in a snowstorm. No, it's just blank paper. This is not blank paper. Okay. Now this is really light. I'm gonna give this a little bit more body. So, this is a scene where Deathstroke's been helping the good guys, because in this time he was helping them. And so he's there and he's talking to Nightwing in the kitchen because they got back from a big fight. And so he's talking, explaining. And so he's explaining that he almost got recruited to the villains too. And this is the scene, it's a flashback. He was in the alley when he met Nova. She says, come with me, I'm going to recruit you. He says, like, put her down, you're being too loud. She says, I'm contracted to the Titans now. Go tell Darkseid, take a flying leap. He says, are you sure? And he says, sure. Because he's not going to go back to the bad guys. Because for a while, much of the 90s, only until I think the 90s finished, he became a bad guy again. Now, in another part comic, this is Spider-Man. We gotta finish this one up. Spider-Man flums in because he's got better. He's been helping all along. Hey, buddy, and he says hi to Thor, who's returned with the Warriors 3. That's Thor in some special armor, and Fandral, and Volstagg, and the other one. All guns there too. And so Thor's explaining, we gotta go back together. And he says, you know about Darkseid? And so Spider-Man doesn't know what Darkseid is, but he says, yeah, sure, some weird people there. We mentioned him. And they captured us and they put us away, but we got out. And so, yeah, Gambit helped. And so he's there. There's Gambit. He says, we'll be guys free. Here's Gambit. So Gambit's going to explain some. The heroes get their forces together. And this is really where they start winning. Now, this part is where, oh yeah, this is the Global Guardians. This is where they, the Global Guardians come because Europe needed to be freed. And so, first time I've ever drawn any of them, this is kind of the second string Global Guardians. So there's Little Mermaid, not Ariel, this is Little Mermaid, who came first. That's one of the guys, the Wild Huntsman, who's really powerful, and Bushmaster, the good Bushmaster. And so Wild Huntsman is saying, I'm the Wild Huntsman. So he's going to lead the way, and so everybody's got to follow him because that's what he does. He's really heroic. It's not, that's just razor dust. And so Dr. Mist has to make a spell because he's got super magic. He's one of the best magicians. They used him a lot in Crisis. That was the first time they really used Dr. Mist. Before that, he was just in Super Friends. And once they got done with Crisis, they made the Global Guardians much more stars with things. And that's why you have Fire and Ice in the Global Justice League. They're both Global Guardians. Now, this is from the other scene that we had a little bit ago with Nova trying to recruit Deathstroke. And she says, "It's gonna, and so have fun on your giant world. They're gonna eat it really soon." And so she's going away. And that's what he explains. He says, "So we've got to stop them. And we've got one last battle. And the war isn't over." And so Nightwing is acting. And he says, I hope Donna's team is doing well. They are. And so they're just in the kitchen. And so Deathstroke says, "They're in for a long fight." They sure are. That's comics. Okay. This isn't so much black paper. This is stuff. This is an old cover. Actually isn't too old. I redid it. This is the Avengers. This is what you have left. If you take all the Avengers off the Earth, you have the reservists. And at this time, the reservists were our fucking Wild Avenger, even before the lately Captain Marvel and Rage. This is them beat tough. Oh, tough. I'm the thing. I'm the Rage. And I'm Spider-Man. They do have quite a fight. Now, time period is the Great X-Men issue, because the X-Men are involved. The blue team. The yellow team goes to Japan, but the blue team goes to New York. And this is color. I colored this a while ago. It's colored pencils on top of ink. And they're fighting parents and Beast and Gambit and Rogue are in a bunch. And they sure do fight, but they do get some help. That's a lot for the manual on there. This is just pencils. And late in the event, Nova betrays Galactus because she, he's being courted by Darkseid to get the cosmic power. And she does something. She sends all the Fantastic Four home because she wants them to help. And so that's really betraying Galactus because she's supposed to be his hero. And he finds out and he goes, "Nova," which is really loud because he's huge. And so he's reaching and he's going to get her. She's like, ah. So what happens is he banishes her and he gives the cosmic power to Darkseid, who then takes more of it because he's greedy. And he weakens Galactus almost to the point of death. And so this is when she was betraying Galactus, because Nova helps the Fantastic Four, Galactus had protected them. He took all of them, Alicia too, and Johnny. See, I'm remembering where I have to draw everybody. And they're going to go back to Earth so that they can heal up Johnny more. Mr. Fantastic's got, so they're escaping, and Nova's helping him. And she uses transporter, which I'm sure Galactus has, and transports them back to the Marble Earth. And they say thanks, but she's going to get in trouble because you're not supposed to do that kind of thing. Earlier in the same story is when they're escaping to Galactus' ship, and they said he's got a transporter over here. And so they all walk in, and everybody's talking, and they're just escaping, and they find Nova, and she says, "I'm going to help." She says, "I'm glad you're here." She says, "We don't have any time to chat." And she tells her Tony's hurt, and so that's when Nova helps him escape, because she does. Now, in the earlier part of the thing is when Justice League Europe is fighting some bad guys. So you get Metamorpho versus Rhino. And so Metamorpho's an old guy. He's really smart. He says, "Hey, you way ugly." And Rhino says, "What? Who said that? You take it back," because he's really sensitive. "No, I'm not." He says, "You come here, make me here." And so he goes, "Hey," and so, "Come here." And so, of course, Rhino does. And what happens is he's charging. I'm gonna eat those weights. What happens is, it's not spoilers, he turns into mud because Metamorpho can do that and he traps the rhino. So that's what happens. Alright. There's some more of really early drawings of Nova talking to Galactus from the beginning. One of the guys being punished by Living Laser is really bad. He shoots on a Human Torch, and what happens is Darkseid hits him with the Omega effect and disintegrates him. But he comes back because he's a Living Laser. And so Darkseid says, okay, let that be a lesson to you guys. Don't do that again. And this is when he does it. I think I drew it a little bit more. He hits him with the Omega effect, and that basically gets him gone. These are the other guys who are left, and they remember not to do it. And then he soliloquized Darkseid on Apocalypse about how great his plan is, and Desaad's listening. That's Desaad. He actually has a very important role later. And so he's, oh, don't you overestimate my power, you fool. And so Desaad remembers he's got to be, don't kill Desaad. He says, I'm going to spare you this time. Okay. In another part of the thing, the Justice League manages to return to Earth. They were stuck on another planet by Darkseid, but they got away. And so they're getting back together and figuring out a plan. That's Captain Atom, he's in world map of the world. And this is the Justice League members who are around, which is Metamorpho, Power Girl's mad. That's Catherine, and that's Rocket Red, and they're talking and planning. And so Rocket Red's asking about what happened to Moscow, in which we did another story, and Captain Atom's explaining that they've got to go to Paris. And they do. Okay, now, in a different part of the story, is when they give Thor some new armor. He's been through because he's basically saving everybody and carrying everybody around. And so the Warriors 3, which are, that's Balder, Sif, and Hogun, and Volstagg, and Bandral the Dashing, they look at Thor. Whoever's my new armor. Thor, thy raiment hath changed. Thou hast this. He has a sword because he got a new sword and a shield. So it's better at the end. Oh, not really end. It's just a splash page of the Justice League Europe thing where they all meet because they have to meet. This is a medium when some Teen Titans were getting ready to help out, and what Dark is talking about, how well his plan is going. Kanto is getting in charge of Russia for a little while, but it does not last. Then that's nothing. Okay, and then here is the scene with Magneto. He was helping the villains, but then he because they were in Wakanda and they trapped all the citizens, and he doesn't like that because he doesn't like Gorilla Grodd being in charge of everything, and he's like, this is distasteful, I don't want to do this. He talks to the citizen, he's like, hey child, be calm woman, and I'm just may have helped these villains overtake, but I'm not gonna assist them anymore. So he gets away. He's kind of out of it after that. This is an older page that I did in color. I think I fixed it up because I didn't really like how it came out. But it's Hercules versus Juggernaut. And what Hercules does, because he's Hercules, is after a big fight, he manages to wrestle Juggernaut off the ground and throw him away. And it's very embarrassing. And so what happens is he throws him into the local window and it's smashed. And that's pretty much done for Juggernaut thing. And just into stuff that's I haven't shown before here. Okay. Yeah, this is one with